Okay,
Oh, I can look at it that way?
we're live.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
Yes,
Enhance.
we are live.
Enhance.
Enhance. Oh, God damn it. Oops. I haven't even said anything. I already cussed. Oh, just deplorable.
I thought this was a family.
Funny thing is when you go live, every time you have to say, is this for kids or not? And I just explicitly, no, this is not for kids. We are way too smart. Okay. Awesome. We're live.
Finally. Just
There we go.
1:30 somewhere.
Yeah, 140. It's okay.
It's okay. Donnie, why are we late?
No, don't start. Dude,
We don't start.
not start.
You brought this upon yourself. When am I supposed to do this? I can't even cross my legs like a gentleman.
Put it down here. There we go.
All right.
Got you the long one. I know you like the long ones.
All right. You know,
You started.
you started it. You started it by rolling around with another man, and it bled into our start time.
It is
I have
2024.
I'm not shaming you, other than your
Time
punctuality.
shame? Yeah.
I'm time shaming you. We can't do that now.
For once.
Listen, if
For
there is
once,
one
you're
agreed
waiting
upon,
on me.
if there's one, okay, if there's one agreed upon construct that human society uses to exist, it is time. Yes, it is we have made it up, but if we don't understand or agree upon time, what are we doing here?
Well, it's ironic that you say that today is a made-up day.
I did have a little bit about February 29th.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So February 14th also a made up holiday.
Pretty
So
true.
you know
No, this one's actually made up.
Yeah.
Like the day itself, not the holiday. The actual day doesn't exist.
Yeah.
3 other days of the year.
300 years.
300 years.
Out of each
3 years.
Yeah. Okay.
Correct.
Yes.
Thanks for being the smart one, Doctor.
I just want to make sure that we. Anyway,
Let's keep going.
have you? No, I'm going to tell my story. Do you know anyone who's born on February 29th?
I don't.
Yeah, I do. I know one person who was born on February 29th. He was a drug dealer, and a steroid user, and he valeted cars.
What does that have to do with him as a person? Why did you have to bring up his 2 negative attributes?
What I was going to say, well, because we're here to talk about science, and clearly.
Does he love his mother?
I
Did you
don't
ever
know.
think about that?
No, I was gonna make a joke about science
Okay.
and how we can make we can make all the statements we want. We can make statistics essentially say what we want if you want to. I can say something that somebody had. There was a 100% increase in deaths from seagulls last year. 100% increase. And because it went from 1 to 2 people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
Right?
true.
Right. So I don't know.
Data doesn't matter. The statistic matters.
Right. Yes.
Now here's the funny part. If a doctor says it, you believe it. If a drug dealer says it, maybe you question it.
I was gonna. My joke was going to be that clearly all people born on February 29th are bad people because they deal drugs and do steroids. So shut up.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty
because
hard.
100% of the people that I know born on February 29th
Are drug dealers?
are drug dealers and did steroids. So it's fact.
Congress.
Hashtag
outlaw.
February 29th.
29th.
Yeah.
Yes. There we go.
Hashtag trust the science.
But we are doing great with some credibility here. This is fantastic. Nice job, guys. Everybody listening, it does not get better.
That's fine. Yeah, you should probably tune out right now. I mean, we'll wait a little bit longer. Put it on mute. Just wait a little bit longer so that we get something in the algorithm. But yeah, you can go and do whatever else you want to do. Your take is, I texted you an hour before we were supposed to start because I didn't hear from you.
I knew what we were doing. We had already had this
Listen.
taken care of. I actually am a tad bit smarter than I appear.
I would appreciate it if you just gave me like a thumbs up on the text. Like, yeah, okay, good. That's what we're going to talk about.
That's pretty much the universal text sign for FU.
Okay, well, fine. It could have. I was perfectly fine with
I'm
you
muting
saying
myself. We're on our way to being for kids.
"F-U." Yes, that's what we're going to talk about. Okay, perfectly fine.
Okay.
I
All
would.
right. Are we done chastising me? All right. Because I just took a beating by one man about a half hour ago. I don't need another one. There you go. How about that? I brought it right in for you. Okay,
Your
yes,
punishment should
I have
been,
a private jujitsu trainer because I suck at jujitsu and I want to get better at
Your
it.
punishment should have been that you had to wear the freaking jujitsu.
What, a rash guard?
Yeah. Is that what it is?
Not a rash guard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you should know. I know this stuff because I'm a jujitsuer.
Is that what you guys call each other?
No.
Jiu-jitsu.
No, not at all. No, it's not at all. In fact, if anybody who's watching from my dojo, I'll probably get my ass kicked for talking like this. Hopefully they're not watching. For once I'm saying that. Hopefully somebody's not watching from there.
Oh, gosh.
Sorry, John.
All
right.
Let's go. I think this show's going to get all ratings.
Yeah, 5 minutes into it, we've done nothing of value.
I disagree. I mean, this is probably the only stuff that people actually want to watch. They don't want to hear me talk about our subject we're going to talk about.
Yeah,
so
true. It's boring.
It is boring. I'm nerd. I'm gonna read some scientific articles. Yeah.
I guess this is why you have me here, to make fun of you while you're doing it, so they stay tuned in.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, very cool. I'm glad I have value.
What else are we doing here?
We actually don't do drugs before we film this. Just so if anybody's out there for the whole kid rating thing, this is us normal. This is us
giggling. Like
imagine being married to us. Sorry.
I am also sorry.
Sorry.
My wife.
Yeah.
Well, listen. She knew who she married.
Did she? It was so long ago.
It was a long time ago.
You're actually old.
Yeah. You're the old one.
There's the irony of it.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway.
Let's move along. Let's take this.
Let's talk about stuff. Okay.
Let's head towards the train station here.
We have some ingenuity here in our studio with our soundboard, and we have actual working microphones. Right. So that was I don't know what brought this on after our last episode, but I thought, hey, let's talk about in our years of being in the profession that we are in, what in your opinion is the greatest invention, put it that way, or the greatest tool of progress that you have seen in your profession. So I was going to answer it from the rehab perspective, in terms of physical therapy, rehabilitation, and I was curious as to what your thoughts were, or your opinion was, in the fitness world, in terms of the greatest, we'll call it invention, innovation, sure. One of those.
Would you like me to go first, or you want to go first?
Yeah, I know what I want to talk about. People will probably fall asleep. So by the time they get to me,
So you want me to go first?
So you can go first.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I have a 2-prong answer to this because here we go. Well, according to page 3, section 4, paragraph 3, sentence 2. No, I will break this down into 2 things because there's 2 types of people I like working with: athletes, actual athletes, like people that play a sport, and elderly. I love working with senior citizens, and I'll start with the senior citizen thing because I think that's a big deal. The introduction of bone density and how that makes a huge difference for quality of life later into the twilight years is something that I'm very grateful for, because it has brought to life that you can resist and even reverse the effects of osteoporosis and bone density degeneration in senior citizens, and it's been proven. And it's such a simple thing. Milk is not the answer. Right. Who'd have thought?
What about all those ads that I saw with mustaches?
Yeah, the mustaches. Yeah, all the sexy girls telling all the old people to drink milk. Yeah, that's perfect advertisement. Yeah. No, they actually. I don't have the study in front of me. That's I'm not going to quote it, but there is a studies out there that show that milk, by the time it actually gets to the point through digestion process, has such negligible effects on your bone density. It's insane, and you know this. I don't need to tell you, but it's insane how little effect it actually has at the quantities that you can drink as a human being without turning into, a freaking floating cow or something. But no, weightlifting, resistance training, I should say, some sort of resistance training, and it does not have to be weights, is the key to increasing your bone density as you age. And I have several senior citizens I train here at Strength and Performance Institute, And I actually cater to them. I advertise to them because I want them coming into my facility, because a lot of them are hesitant to walk into normal gyms with the stereotypical meatheads and stuff that are going on there. And even though the meatheads have been proven to be the nicest people in the world, we kind of come off as, off-putting. So that was a nice way of putting it, right? So yeah, it's good to be in here. And then we work on progressive resistance of the body. And as the body starts to evolve and starts to change, we add more resistance. It continues to going, and then you find out your bone density is not only not decreasing but increasing. So now your risk of injury from a fall, or even the bone breaking before you fall. This is what they're finding out more and more now. Is like hips aren't being broken from fall impacts. They're the reason why people are falling. The femur head is snapping in some instances. So they're finding out that the impact is not what's doing it. It's the pure, just brittle bones. So yes, that's one of my big things there. Second is
just to clarify, basically paying more attention and slash tracking bone density, and then understanding how to track it, and then making a more concerted effort in the strength and conditioning community for senior citizens.
Correct.
Yeah.
And they're motivated because they're trying to hold on to quality of life. And I used to think athletes are motivated, but man, you take a senior citizen that's all of a sudden not being able to do things that they used to do, they're working hard because they understand that it's inevitable, but they're trying to stave it off as long as possible.
Father Time is undefeated.
Undefeated. Yep. And then the second thing when it comes to athletes is when this is going to be more of a primitive thing, and I attribute it to guys like Fred Hatfield. I really should. I'm gonna make myself look like a fool here. I know the West Side Barbell guys and all this other stuff. The guys who took
Louis Simmons.
Yeah, Louis, and I didn't want to just point out Louis because there's a few there that I really wanted to point, but I'm gonna let it go and move on. These guys who took scientific approaches. I mean,
those guys they're pretty weak anyway.
Yeah. These guys that squat 1,000 pounds and no big deal. The scientific approach to training. So we're not just saying go lift as much weight as you want. And as much as I love Arnold, and as much as I love that era of bodybuilding, Arnold is Arnold. He's a special specimen. The average person, if you train like Arnold, would break and not get the chance to fulfill their goals. So when you take a scientific approach and say, okay, hey, listen, we need to structure in rest days when needed, not just saying we need a rest day every 3 days because it's time to rest. You need to listen to your body. How to program off of percentages and this kind of stuff. Those are the things that they were in there before I was in the sport, but now they're really being grasped and taken by the people who actually know what they're doing. The TikTok world is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the actual strength and conditioning coaches that are creating these athletes that are just superhuman these days on the courts and on the fields. And records are continuously being broken, and testing for performance enhancement has gotten increased. So you think it should have decreased over the last 2 decades, kind of stuff. It is not, and because the athletes are getting smarter, stronger, better, faster. And I attribute that to proper programming and coaching, and not just saying go lift until you fall. So those are my two. I hope I explained that one pretty well.
So I mean, the first one's pretty obvious. The second one, you're saying that you've seen athletes hit numbers that we haven't seen before, and you're attributing it to more of a focus on programming and
proper coaching and doing things that are programmed for the athlete and not just because it worked for somebody else.
Gotcha.
And you look at the combine numbers. You're seeing guys you're seeing 290-pound defensive linemen running 4.5s, 4.6s, and these are what running backs and wide receivers used to run 10, 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So why is that? When now the testing has gotten so stringent, they can't be just run as much gas as you want. Even if they are running gas, have to do it very, very strategically. So you can't get the full effect from it like they used to be able to do. So
yeah. Do you attribute any other, I guess, technological markers that are being used, or do you feel like when it's more that coaches are becoming more attuned to the person they have in front of them, and then modifying or individualizing the program for the person they have in front of them?
yeah, I think that's more of the case. I think we're reaching a point, and I could be the old man shaking my fist at this guy saying this, but I think we're reaching a point of diminishing returns when it comes to technology in the program, or the coaching and the industry itself. We're starting to try to reinvent things just to sell things. Like I said, I know I sound like a shaking old man because there are some good things that are being developed, but a lot of times it's just marketing that's there, and like taking something that's always been used, repackaging it, making it look pretty, tripling the price, and calling it a day.
And now a word from our sponsor, Whoop.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
The Whoop Watch. Is that? Sorry.
Yeah, let's do the shoulder shake. So yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I had no idea what you were going to say,
Yeah.
as usual. So I'm glad. I agree that at least anecdotally, because there's a CrossFit gym here in the area. There's a 55 and over CrossFit gym,
Correct.
and I feel like what they do with their programming is amazing. It's awesome.
And they have to be, or they would be injuring people all day
Right.
if they went with traditional.
Yeah, and they've even got it. They were the gym, or at least the programming. The model of programming was used by CrossFit HQ for that older population. So I feel like what they do is fantastic.
Correct.
And encouraging, athletes of that age to move and to load and to get comfortable with it. Because to your point, we're talking about not only just being here on this planet, but having a quality of life while we're here on this planet for the number of decades we're going to be here. So it's one thing to be around until you're 90. It's another thing to be around until you're 90 and still, running around chasing after your great grandkids.
And that comes in with, I think that's a generational thing. When you're in your 20s, you say, okay, 20s and 30s, I want to live to be as long as I can. And then when you get in your 50s and 60s, you say, all right, yeah, I still want to live, but I don't want to just exist. I want to have quality of life. I don't want to have somebody be wiping my butt and driving me around. And I think that's what you find out when you get towards that age. And when you give somebody hope of that, and then the results follow, it's a really fulfilling thing as a coach and a trainer and as a human being in general, to be able to provide that, or to guide them to that direction.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree with that. I don't. You clearly, being in the strength and conditioning world, this is what you do day in, day out. In terms of programming, my programming is. I just don't have it because it's not what I do on a daily basis. I do help with basic programming for some of the athletes that I work with, but it's more about kind of getting them on like a really super simple program and to kind of give them a baseline, or at least like, hey, here's like a basic kind of package where you can do the big movements a couple times a week, and then once you get comfortable with that, then we can work on. You can either, the athlete can either go on their own and try to find, like, do stuff off a percentage base, or work with a coach like you, who has more of an individualized program. But with that said, one of the biggest things and mistakes that I see with patients who come to see me is, they have an error in their programming because they've either done a program that was a blanket program that they just got off the internet, or they're going into a gym and just showing up and be like, oh, what are we doing today, coach? Cool. Snatches? All right, let's not worry about, the overhead press I did yesterday, the handstand push-ups I did the day before, or my bodybuilding row sesh where I did, like, shoulder three-ways on the weekend. I think we were great, man. They don't feel so hot.
Well,
right?
It's called a feeder program for your business.
Yeah. So I did not specifically name the type of program because snatches can be done in a variety of gyms that you don't have to pay an affiliation fee. But it's one of the biggest mistakes that I'll see is people who don't have their own program and just kind of show up and do whatever is written on the board or on given to them that's not individualized to them, and then they're like, oh, I don't have pain. I was like, well, you're doing a bunch of just shoulder work and a bunch of pressing, and there's zero pulling in your programming, right? Or you all of a sudden decided to do front squats for this month, and where you haven't done a front squat in 5 years, and like, hey, I'm just going to front squat out of nowhere and do the same percentages that I've been doing for my back squat, and you're like, okay, so or people who's we've talked about it before on this podcast, my love with Squattober, and people who just assume that they can go from squatting once a week to squatting 5 days a week and they'll be just fine. And they're like, wait, well, why did my knees start to hurt? Why's my back hurting? I can squat. So that's the biggest thing that I see. So of course, obviously from yours, I mean, knowing how you work, I knew that you would provide individual programming. So I'm glad you have a finger on the pulse in the strength and conditioning world. So
yeah, and I really do enjoy working with the senior citizen community because they really are just grateful. And as a human being, you got to stay in line with your passion, or if you just follow the money or follow wherever your business takes you per se, you tend to lose touch with it. So this is me, working with people who give me satisfaction personally, to stay focused and getting better at what I do, and going home every day with a smile on my face and looking forward to coming in here and working. And that's where I'm headed, and wherever my passion takes me, I'll go. I have the skill set, I have the knowledge basically, and this is where I've been lately with the athletes, the on-field athletes, and the senior citizen. That's where I'm really at now.
Cool. Well, mine's a little more nuanced, but I think it does segue into generally the theme that we're seeing in the rehabilitation world. So, I've talked about this before. My past medical history: 2 ACL reconstructions, 2 meniscectomies on the same knee. Both times I had to take my patellar tendon, or a third of my patellar tendon, to make my new ACL, and didn't really become an issue until maybe, I don't know, the last few years, give or take, and I started to develop a little bit more some like anterior knee pain, maybe some patellar tendonitis, which I was, maybe it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, or maybe it's a nocebo thought by my surgeon, who said, hey, you're at an increased chance of developing this later on in your life. I'm not, that wasn't the point of it. It was more that there is a new type of ACL repair. It's called the BEAR, Bridge Enhanced Anterior Cruciate Ligament Repair. And so quickly, without getting too nerdy in the details, basically, this isn't for every single person who tears their ACL. I bring this up because ACL tears, I still see them on a regular basis. They're probably becoming more and more prevalent. We've talked about other ligament tears here, and so people who are just being exposed to sport and who are not adequately preparing, I see this often. So ACL tears are still happening at an increased rate, and so it's something that is going to continue to, unless we actually change the way that we expose our athletes to sport. But with that said, this is happening, and it's a pretty traumatic injury, and it's a long recovery if you want to get back to any level of sport. And the other thing is that there aren't, even though the surgery is great, successful in terms of getting back to a prior level of sport, we aren't seeing probably the numbers that we want to see. So this surgery, the surgical enhancement, which is or innovation, which has come out, I don't know, approximately in the last 10 years. There's really the first paper that I could find that looked at a study about it was 2016. I could be wrong, but that was the research that I did. But basically, what happens is that, and again, not every single ACL tear is going to be eligible for this. So if you tear your ACL, you still need to have part of the ACL, intact. And what I mean is, it could be a full tear, but you need to have some fibers of the ACL. And essentially, what they do is they take like a sponge, kind of put it in the canal where your ACL is, and stitch it in. And then that sponge is supposed to be kind of like a matrix that your body can then regrow the ACL or scar over, and it's the same quality of tissue that you were originally born with. So it has to be done within 50 days of the injury. So that's the other caveat, is that you have to have part of your ACL on both ends
Something
intact.
attached to.
And something attached to, it has to be done within 50 days of the injury. So there's a couple caveats there. But the good news is that because you're not taking part of your body, other parts of your body, like your patellar tendon, your hamstring tendon, or a cadaver graft, you are, so it's your original tissue, so to speak. So your body can heal a little bit faster. And the early evidence has come out is that people are stronger after this type of ACL surgery compared to typical ACL reconstruction, like patellar tendon autograft, hamstring autograft, so on and so forth.
So like tension strength of the tendon.
Right. Yeah. So you have, because it is your original tissue. That's the theory that's behind it so far. So the reason I bring this up is because this is such a common injury that happens. It's happening in athletes younger and younger and younger, because we're exposing kids. We're specializing. We talked about that ad nauseum here, right? Mm-hmm. So not that I want this to become the Tommy John of the lower body, but I think we haven't had an innovation quite like this in a long time when it comes to athletes specifically. So, and that's the people that we deal with a lot. And I think that it's the bigger picture that I wanted to bring up is that people are understanding that the injury itself can be so debilitating that the quality of life, and then the earlier onset of things like arthritis, that we see, which can then lead to decreased physical activity, which then leads to a cascade effect of like fear of movement, and going and not being able to hit like the minimum recommended exercise guidelines to stave off systemic disease and so on and so forth, right? So that's kind of the bigger picture that I'm trying to get at, is that this is probably one of the better innovations that I've seen surgically. And again, I'm not anti-surgery, it's anti-premature surgery. But if you're going to have a surgery, if you can do something that's A, minimally invasive, B, that uses your own tissue to help you heal, then I think it's fantastic. So
so the infection rate, rejection rates are extremely low in this.
So far, again, this is really only been popular probably in the last like 5 years as an approach.
Only certain surgeons that are actually
certain surgeons that are doing the technique. And not many people have access to these surgeons. People will drive several hours to go find a surgeon who will do the surgery. But if you're a young healthy adult and you want to actually get back, this is a viable option. And so I think it kind of blends both. Like, you still rehab afterward. Like, you still have to do PT. It's not like you can't do PT, but you can just skip PT. But the recovery rate is seemingly faster. People are seemingly stronger, both passively and the tensile force that they can tolerate passively, but also they can then rebound faster with this. So again, I'm not here as a proponent for people having surgeries who don't need to have surgeries.
But I think an ACL tear is pretty.
Right, it's one of those things where if you're
trying to return to sport.
Right, there are people out there who are called copers, meaning they can tear an ACL, they can actually get back to playing sports without surgery at all. Wow. There's probably like 10% of people who tear ACLs. So the majority of people who tear ACL who want to get back to sport, they need some sort of surgical intervention in all likelihood. Again, it also depends on the type of sport you want to get back to.
Especially lateral sports. Too.
Right, exactly. Like I've rehabilitated a runner, who had an ACL tear. She didn't have surgery and got back to running just fine because it's running. Right. But the bigger picture that I was trying to illustrate was that, anything that we can do to allow people to continue to exercise and do the things that they want to do, and progressively get stronger. And then, when they get to an older age where they don't automatically have to have a knee replacement surgery because they had a different type of ACL surgery back when they were 25, right. That I'm a fan of it. So that was the bigger picture that I was trying to.
And that is a big correlation when you have, you've actually done a pretty good job of keeping your knees healthy based off of, the trauma that you had. But there is a high correlation with, ACL, MCL repairs, and then future total knee replacement TKEs because the arthritis buildup that's caused by the trauma, not only the trauma from the injury, but the trauma from the surgery. There's a lot of things that go on like that. So there's a secondary there. If you can avoid a total knee replacement 20 years later, then wow, keeping your original joints, which is, unfortunately I wasn't given that, option. Mine were just completely thrown. But man, if I was given the option to keep my joint and be able to rehab it to the point where I was able to, move again, that would have been the better option. So yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And this is all new to me. I haven't heard any of this stuff, so I'm hearing it as you're saying it. So now I'm going to go Google this and do some research on the
Just be
Dr.
careful.
Google.
Be careful of what type of bear you Google.
Yeah, should have been Bearcle instead of bear. BEACL.
I'm just the doctor of physical therapy. I don't want you to do the surgery. So, I know.
I didn't want to ruin your intro by saying that, but now that it's over, it should have been Bearcle. I think Bearcle, not bear. Bearcle.
Okay, you can go back to the surgeon.
I'll tell him.
Say, hey,
listen here, doctor.
Hey, do you know who I am?
Your acronym sucks.
It's really affecting the Google results. The Google results that I want to get.
Yeah. It's affecting the other Google results. Great, they're loving it. But for the rest of us, go ahead and Google bear. Figure it out if you don't know.
UrbanDictionary.com.
Yeah. All right, yeah, we're back.
All right.
No, that was really good. And obviously the ability to return to sport and not sacrifice your later years of discomfort. I think that's where most current athletes now, they don't have the foresight to understand what it's going to be like in their 40s, 50s after being a high level athlete. And understandably so. You're focused, but if you have a procedure that can not trade off later years for current, then obviously that would be the better.
I had a friend who was a big baseball player back in high school.
Did he used to throw that speedball by you?
Make you look like a fool, boy.
I knew where you were going.
It's like you're inside.
Wait,
Speaking of bears.
Yeah. Is that a never mind. Yeah, I'm not gonna say
are we done?
I don't think we can say the word on YouTube and we'll get canceled. So. Hey.
All right. Well, on that note.
Yeah, I think we're good.
I think we're good.
Yeah, that was great.
For the, one person who's still watching, thanks. Appreciate it.
And you know what? I don't even care, because putting this stuff out there, if one or two people see this and are able to do that, even if your information that you gave there saves one person from going through a higher risk procedure, fantastic. And then at the same time, they got to hear our banter back and forth about saying stuff we actually can't say, but you get the gist. It's fun. Yeah.
That's I think the undercurrent of the show is really the only thing that keeps people watching. I think.
For real.
They're just waiting for us to slip up one day.
I know. And the funny is, not to toot our horn, we are pretty smart about this shit. But I think if we weren't so damn witty, we would have negative viewers. I think they would take viewers away from us.
that's the toot your own horn portion of the show.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, should we remind people who we are? What we do?
I think it's a good idea.
Okay. We haven't done an intro. Do we need to do an intro? Yeah, whatever. We'll just do an outro.
I think what I'm going to do is they have it. They can do as soon as you go live, it does an intro for you for 10 seconds. I'm going to create that and do that in future episodes when we get more time.
Jamie, can you?
Yeah.
Jamie, get on that.
Our imaginary AI producer over there.
Got it. Well, it's to remind everyone who I am, or really to remind me. My name is Dr. Hayes Esty, and I'm a doctor of physical therapy and the owner of Premier Physical Therapy here in Palm Harbor and Clearwater, wherever we are right now. We're in Florida. We're in Florida.
Bay.
Yeah, the Tampa Bay area. So I would say that I help athletes of any age and any ability level get out of pain, get back in the game.
Yep, and I'm the owner of Strength and Performance Institute here in Tampa Bay. Yes, yes. Donnie is my name, I guess. I suppose it doesn't really matter what my name is. We work with getting. We have all types of people. Personally, myself, I work with seniors and athletes. That's where I'm at, as we talked about. But if you can find us on the socials, Strength and Performance Institute on Facebook, SPI_Tampa Bay on Instagram.
Wait, what? Oh, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, my bad.
I have actual legitimate
That's right. That's right. I forget.
I went legitimate and actually hired someone to do my stuff. Come on, move it on up. Look at you.
Look at you. All right.
Deluxe apartment in the sky.
Gotcha. Well, yeah. If you want to get on pain, if you want to improve your performance, maybe you want to look at. I don't. You know what?
I don't know what you're going here.
I don't know what I'm doing either. Just contact us. We're here. We're pretty good. Pretty good.
We're better at our job than we are at talking about it, apparently. So, all right.
Okay.
That's it.
Turn this thing off.
We'll see you next month.
Bye.
Bye.
Happy leap year day.
Happy leap year day.
We're gonna still be doing this in 2028, right? Next
Yeah,
time
of
we'll
course.
go.
If I'm still alive.
Let me know if you want to get drugs from that guy.
And on that note, holy shit.
You just can't do that.